A few days ago, on the 10th of March, Genshin Impact uploaded 2 short videos to their social channels and launched a web event titled Song of the Welkin Moon, and it may just be the biggest lore drop since A Winter Night's Lazo in 2022. Most players, however, will not know all the lore needed to connect the dots, and so in today's video I'm going to be breaking down what the cryptic new information means for the game story and how it connects to the upcoming area Nod-Krai. Hello and welcome to the Steambird, where we discuss leaks and news relating to Genshin Impact. If you don't wish to be spoiled for future content, I'd recommend clicking off the video now. There's a lot to go over in relation to the web event, but the most important thing that players should note is that this lore is about the Moon Sisters, a trio of ancient deities who we previously assumed had perished long ago. The video playing now provides names for each of the moons and a brief summary of how each deity seemingly died. These moons have been mentioned in lore in-game several times before, but using different names. For simplicity's sake, I will be referring to the moons using the titles from the web event going forward. Now let's analyse the clip. The first thing to note is the deterministic word choices used in these descriptions. The eternal moon fell, and the iridescent moon shattered, which anecdotally is likely the moon we can see in the sky in Nutlan. The phrasing here implies that these two moons have been destroyed or at least ruined. The frost moon, however, simply ceased to turn, which suggests that it is still intact. These two assumptions make sense when we look at some in-game information. The description of the 4-star Moonpiercer polearm states that after 2 of the Moon Sisters disappeared, the third one was overcome with grief, confirming that one of them, the Frost Moon, did indeed survive, though we don't know how long for. The next logical question to ask is why they died, and it seems that the answer to this has been available all along too. In the 3rd volume of the Liyue book Moonlit Bamboo Forest, we learn that the Moon Sisters turned on each other when the Great Calamity struck, leading to 2 of them perishing. Additionally, the Moon Sisters also rode in the Lunar Chariot, which we know fell and crashed into Teyvat following their deaths, with the impact creating the chasm, as is detailed in the description for the Solar Relic artifact. Moving on, the final segment of this clip explains that the world is no longer sheltered by eternity, written in quotation marks, and is marching towards its final breath. The video then goes on to tell us that a new moon will rise and spin the wheel of fate anew. There's obviously a lot of very interesting information to analyse here, but I'd first like to look at the concept of the wheel of fate. The other video released to the social channels begins with a passage that mentions the Moon Sisters steering a primordial celestial sphere. This reminded me a lot of the Moirai from Greek mythology, who are a trio of sisters that decide fate using thread and a spindle. We don't know exactly in what way the Moon Sisters control fate, but they are heavily linked to Celestia and they may function in a similar way to Renova, who presides over death from the Nutlan Archon quests. The sisters also have connections with angels, as we learn in Moonlit Bamboo Forest and the new Finale of the Deep artifact set coming in 5.5. They hosted a marriage between a human and a Seelie 30 days before the Great Calamity struck. Seeing as a major theme in Genshin Impact's plot is religion and heresy, I wouldn't be surprised if this calamity turned out to be a punishment for the wedding being an act of unorthodoxy. Finally, let's look at how this is connected to Nod-Krai. In the combat event in 5.3, we learned that there exists a faction in Nod-Krai, which is an autonomous part of Snezhnaya, known as the Frost Moon Scions. For those who don't know what autonomous means, it essentially means that Nod-Krai rules itself in most aspects, but it's still a part of Snezhnaya and it's still under the Tsaritsa's dominion. According to Helka, from the combat event, the Frost Moon Scions are a strange group that lives in the forests surrounding Nod-Krai and erects statues of the moon deity. All things considered, it seems like the people of Nod-Krai, or at the very least the Frost Moon Scions, worship the Moon Sister of the same name, and from the information I presented earlier, the Frost Moon may even still be alive. The last thing I want to discuss is the new moon mentioned in the trailer. As we know, 2 of the Moon Sisters are dead, and the Frost Moon is either also dead or at least dormant, so the new moon likely refers to a successor to the Moon Sisters and the steering of fate. As such, the plot of the Nod-Krai Archon quests will likely revolve around this new moon, and if they are a playable character they could serve as a replacement for the Archon of that region, since we shouldn't see the Tsaritsa become playable until the main Snezhnaya quests. Another important part of the Nod-Krai quests will no doubt be the Heavenly Principles. The trailer we looked at before also contains a line that tells us that the world is no longer sheltered by eternity, in quotation marks. In the EN version of the game, different phrases are all used to refer to the Heavenly Principles. Fate is used as a synonym a lot, and the Tribunal comes up in the Hydro Gemstone's description. So I believe it's likely that eternity here refers to the Heavenly Principles, and that their dormancy is the broken shelter of eternity. And that's all there is to talk about for today. If you're interested in further story implications, I'll link a Reddit post I made, which is too long to make into a video, but interesting nonetheless, in the description. As a parting note, the 14th of March is a total lunar eclipse, and the 5.5 livestream also happens to take place on that day. I fully expect Toyverse to provide us with more moon information in the livestream tomorrow, so my next video will cover any substantial news. Thank you for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.